Hi everyone, welcome back to Mad About Cards and Crafts. Today I'm going to announce the winner of my 500 subby giveaway and answer some of your questions. So it's a big day here and I did my hair. I don't usually, my hair is naturally curly and so I don't, I feel like I have hair in my mouth, but I guess not. I don't normally do anything but get up in the morning and wet it and scrunch it. So curled my hair today, a little something different. And I'm sitting here in my living room. It is snowing outside as we speak. Welcome to South Dakota in the spring. And we have a fire going. And so I thought this was a really cozy place for me to answer some of your questions. And I have them written down on this messy piece of paper. So let me get to them. The first question was asked a couple of times, and so it says, how long have you been a card maker? I started as a scrapbooker, and my son bought me a silhouette cameo, and I moved from scrapbooking into album making, so I was making mini albums and selling them. And I think it was probably around maybe 2013 that I started making cards. I started watching card videos on YouTube, and it was just a natural transition, and that's what I ended up loving. You know, I still have my scrapbooks, I still have scrapbook things, but card making's where it's at for me. It's what I love, and that is about when I started doing that. Second question was what's my favorite technique? And I would say watercoloring. I really love watercoloring. I would love to be there are lots of inspirational people that I follow that I would love to be where they are at in my journey, but I just keep working at it and hopefully getting better at it. I've, found some things that work, things that don't work for me, and so I just plug away at it. The next question was, my family does not like when I make cards for them. They feel guilty because of the time involved. Have you had a similar experience? And no, I haven't had that experience, but I do try to give my cards to my friends. So I have a couple friends that are in California. That's where I was born and raised. And especially last year they were here, and I let them go through my box, and when they went through my box, they probably picked out, I don't know, 15, 20 cards, something like that. I tried to send them home with them and ended up with gift cards in the mail. So they will not let me just give them my cards, which I would gladly do. I used to sell my cards more often than I do now. I used to sell them at work. I used to work for the state of Colorado judicial system. I used to work in the courts. And so I had a lot of people that worked within our building that I was able to sell cards and photo albums to. And I haven't done that anymore, but I sell a few here or there. I really haven't pushed that. But no, I can't give my cards away to my friends. They will not accept them because they know how much time I put into them, and so they pay me one way or another. What is the hardest technique to learn? Hardest technique to learn. I know there's things that I don't enjoy doing as much as I enjoy doing other things. So I would say maybe noline watercoloring. That takes just a little bit of practice. I have lots of practice sheets where I have not shared them in a card. I just practice and then I toss them because they didn't turn out well. I found that I can't work on certain papers. you know, certain people have the talent to work on less expensive papers, and I don't use the most expensive paper, but I know that inexpensive paper such as Canson XL, I really struggle with. And maybe it's because I'm not a great watercolorist and I just don't know how to work with the paper, but I find that there are other papers that work better for me. So I would say that for me, that was probably the one that took the most practice, was learning how to watercolor. No line watercolor. Top card making tools. Misty. Misty was a game changer. I still have a Stamp-A-Majig, and I still use a Stamp-A-Majig sometimes for red rubber stamps. Especially, I haven't used them lately, but I love Purple Onion design, and there's nothing like the impression that you get from a red rubber stamp. So I still have my Stamp-A-Majig, but the Misty was life-changing for me. I own 2 of them. I have never looked back. I would never give them away. I have the Tim Holtz one as well. I am fortunate enough to have a second home in Nevada. We're from the West, so I have that home that we go back to, and so I have a very small craft room there, and I have the Tim Holtz one there, and so and I like that just as well. You know, there's some spots on it that probably don't stamp as well as others, but if I had to live with something that was less expensive, that was you know, the same type of tool as a Misty, absolutely, I would find a way to make it work, because I think that that's indispensable. And then the other thing that I love my new pencil sharpener that I shared in my top buys of 2019. I think that really changed my color pencil, the outcome of my coloring with colored pencils. I really enjoy that pencil sharpener. So if you use colored pencils, the pencil sharpener is fabulous. I probably have 4 or 5 you know, those little handheld ones that were highly recommended, and they just didn't do anything for me. So the pencil sharpener is indispensable if you use colored pencils. I have Spectrum Noirs at my other house, and I can't color nearly as well with them. I'm not a great Copic colorist. Some of my friends, Renee, Courtney Krieber, they're great Copic colorists, and I'm okay. You know, that's just not my best medium, but definitely color way better with Copics than I do with the Spectrum Noir. And I know there's people out there that can use the Spectrum Noir and they do beautiful work, but I'm just speaking for, you know, from my experience. A die cutting machine is fabulous. Somebody asked, one of my other questions is what my favorite die cutting machine is. I own both the Gemini and the Vagabond, and I used to use my Gemini all the time, and then I found that I was using a lot of my Bigs dies, and so I went ahead, well, I didn't go ahead. My Vagabond is out, and so that's the one that I use most frequently, and only because the Bigs dies fit in there, and I can't use them with my Gemini. But I have both of them, and if you know, if my Vagabond dies, then I definitely have a backup. But the Gemini is a fantastic machine if you're not using any Bigs dies, but for me, that's something that I use. Let's see here. How did I start creating videos? First, I started because people were asking me what I was using and what I got in hauls and stuff like that. I was a member of a few different Facebook groups, and so I decided that I would just throw them on YouTube. I didn't know, I really didn't do a whole lot of promoting or anything. I wasn't trying to get subscribers. I just would post on those Facebook groups and say, hey, you know, I got a haul video and that type of thing. But I never, you know, never really promoted until I started with Team Tiny. And then when I was approached to join Team Tiny when they first started, I decided that I was going to learn how to do process videos. And I said before, I have a very ugly, rough process video. It's like the greetery sunflowers, and it's ugly. Ugly video. I just threw my camera on my my phone, and I just started filming, and it's a rough video, no editing or anything. So that is still, I will not get rid of it, because that, you know, that was part of the process. But that was my first process video, but I really didn't start getting into it until I started with Team Tiny. Is there a certain card or project I've been putting off? There isn't anything that I've been, well, I can't say that. I have some interactive die pieces that I haven't used that I really want to use, and I probably should. I'm kind of a lazy card maker. Let's be honest, I am. And so a lot of, I admire so many cards that people do, like Pear Blossom Press, Amanda. She does amazing light up cards and interactive cards. And Renee just did, Renee Moran, who is Delaney Jane, she just did a fantastic single layer card that was inspired by Courtney Krieber. I'm not a fan of masking, and it's not because I don't like the look, it's because I'm lazy. I don't want to do all of that prep work. And so I would say probably the interactive cards. I have a lot of the supplies, and I think they're fantastic, and I look at them and I say, ooh, I want to make one of those. And then when it comes down to it, to me, it's super labor intensive, and so I just don't get to it. What is the most challenging thing about doing YouTube? 100% technology. 100%. I can't tell you how many times I have created a video and all of a sudden my computer said that it was out of space and I couldn't upload it, or YouTube said that I couldn't upload my video. That is the most frustrating thing, because it's when you're first, especially when you're first starting and you're not really quick at editing. I'm much quicker at editing than I once was. But when you're first starting, especially, the technology portion of it, it's a pain. It really is. And I still have issues. I have, you know, I'm still trying to figure out how to get my photographs in 16:9 format. When I try to upload them to a video, and I upload it in 16:9, it cuts off 3/4 of my picture, and all you see is the middle of my card. So, I mean, I'm still learning. There's a lot that I have to learn, and, you know, and that takes time and it takes research. But if you love what you do, then you figure it out. And so, but technology, definitely the hardest part. How do I come up with video ideas? Usually it's a stamp set I really want to use. And I just said this in my last video. If you did not follow or participate in the Rise and Procrastinate YouTube hop, I highly recommend you do. Amanda just reached, well, Amanda was celebrating 500, but she skyrocketed to over 700 now. But that being said, I said in that video that I'm a fly by the seat of your pants girl. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't, I change my mind. I can change my mind in the middle of a card. Let's just say that. So typically it's going to be the stamp set that just inspires me. What is my favorite tool? I really love the Misty, I said that, but I really love watercolors. Whether they're brush markers or my Daniel Smiths or my Primas, I love watercolors. love the look of them. I think they're really pretty and they're super easy for me to work with. How do I handle people judging? This person said that that's one of their biggest fears with YouTube. And I have to say that this was a real struggle to begin with. You don't realize how long it takes to get your first 100, and it seems that you keep producing videos, and you know, and in the beginning, like I said, it takes a while to produce a video. It's not as quick as it is for me now. And so I would take hours sometimes producing a video, between creating and editing and voiceovers and stuff like that. And then I would have like 5 views. And so it took, you know, it took a while for me to realize that it was going to be way more time consuming than I thought that it was going to be to get to that first 100. That's number one. Number two is I recently got my first negative comment. And I shared this with my friend Kathy, and I said, you know, oh my goodness, I just got my first, you know, negative comment. And they said, what they had to say, the first part of it was constructive, and that was that they didn't like the voiceover. They thought that I was boring, which I'm okay with that. That's okay. It wasn't my favorite voiceover, and I'm okay with that. What I wasn't okay with, what I really struggled with, and I guess what I tried to keep validating, and I shouldn't have, my husband finally told me to stop, was they said that my watercoloring was a waste of time, and my card was a waste for somebody to throw it in a drawer and put it in the trash. And I just kept thinking, why would you leave that comment? Why would you watch my video if you don't like watercoloring? And, you know, it's okay to leave constructive criticism. So again, you know, they thought my voiceover was boring. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But to tell me that my work is a waste of time, that was what I really struggled with. So I'm not going to tell you that it's going to get easier, because from what I have heard and from what I have seen is that, you know, as you get bigger and bigger, you're going to have people that are just going to try to bring you down. And the thumbs down, you know, I've had maybe 1 or 2, not a whole lot, but they're going to come, and those are okay. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me at all. It's just, if you watched my video and you knew it was a watercoloring technique, and then you tell me that it's a waste of time, that I struggled with. So I would say, you know, getting a little bit thicker of a skin, and I think as I continue to grow, that's going to happen. How do I store my dyes and my inks? So I have organized more the wall hangers that hold my full-size ink pads. I have 2 of those. I have 2 big ones. And then I use the Organize More, the little trays that can go into a drawer. They actually go into a cabinet. And if you're interested in, my craft room is not exciting. I craft in the basement. I don't have a beautiful white, you know, craft room with sea green walls. It is what it is down in my basement. And so, but if you're interested in seeing that, almost dropped that. Leave a comment in the box below and let me know if that's something that you're interested in. As far as stamp storage, this is how I store my purple onion design, my red rubber stamps. That's how I store those. And these are not Avery Elle pockets. I get them at Amazon. If you're interested in knowing which ones they are, just leave a comment below and I'll give you the link. But I do stamp the, you know, what's inside, and then I just store them loosely in there. And then my bigger stamps, I have these bigger stamp pockets. So if I have to cut a little bit, I try to keep the packaging. I'm not a big putting a white piece of paper behind it and doing all of that stuff. I want to keep the packaging, so sometimes I'll cut it down if I have to cut it on the side, or if I have to cut the top or bottom of it, I'll do that to fit it in my pocket. I do use a label maker, and then this is all Jennifer McGuire style. I just store them in the container bin containers. Most of them. There's a couple that I have in a different type of bin, but most of them are stored in the the container store containers. And then my first stamp, Chris asked what my first stamp was. This isn't my first stamp. This is probably like my second, and this is a Stampendous. I still love this stamp. My very first one was a Fiskars one, and I don't know, it must be in Nevada, but because I put a lot of older stamps there so that I could still play with them and not have to carry stamps back and forth. But this one is like a seed pack stamp, and I'll probably make a card with this shortly because I really love this stamp, and I think it's still available. And as long as it's still available somewhere, I will use it to make a card. Okay. What technique do you want to try but avoided? And the foil press. You know, I would really love to do one of the foil presses, whether it's, I don't know, I know Gemini has one, and I know that there's one, isn't the other one for Sizzix or, I can't, it's eluding me. But anyway, there's two of them out there, and you'll be surprised to know why I don't want to try it. It's not because I'm afraid, it's because I'm afraid I'd be going down a rabbit hole. And I have a lot of products, and I have invested a lot of money in a lot of products, and I don't want to have something else. I have a mink machine that I rarely use. I have a great video coming up. Our group in Courtney Krieber has a Facebook group that where she mentors some of us, and we have a hop coming up, and it's dig it out or use it or something like that, and I'm showing a different way to use foil, and that, you know, you've seen it in my videos, that's one of my goals, is to try to each month use something that I haven't. I've used gelatos, and I'm using foil, and I did some mixed media with some Prima acrylic paints that I had, so I don't need to buy something else. Oh, let's announce the winner, shall we? I did pick the winner, and let's see if you can see this. I'll put it up close. The winner is Erin Kathleen. So Erin Kathleen, you're the winner of my Greetery gift certificate. DM me your email address, and I will purchase the card, and I will email it to you. And congratulations, I'm really happy for you, and I hope that you enjoy the products as well as I do. Her comment said, she was the one who said that her family doesn't want them making cards for her. So that was her comment. And so thank you so much, Erin, for subscribing and watching. And let's finish this up real quick, because I think I just have a few more questions. Hardest theme for me to create for? I would say Halloween. I'm really not a big Halloween person, and so I just don't do it. I don't have a lot of Halloween stamps, just not my thing. Easter's my favorite holiday, and I'm super excited because I just found out that they're making my husband take tomorrow off. Not that, you know, it's a holiday. For his work, it's a holiday, and typically they work it if they're scheduled to work it, but because of the times, they're telling them that they need to take the day off. So he'll be home tomorrow for Easter. I was gonna have to spend Easter alone. But yeah, Halloween, probably the hardest theme, because I don't do, like, I can do the cutesy cards, but I'm just not I'm not a monster type of gal. Just not in my wheelhouse. My favorite no-line watercoloring tool would have to be the Gina K Designs Amalgam ink. And what I like is that she has several colors. She has Whisper and Barely There. Whisper is more of a gray, so it's really good when I'm working with critters that are going to be gray. And the Barely There is kind of like a peachy tan color. And I think there's a couple more. And so those are probably, they're good for Copics, watercoloring, pencils, everything. And so I would say that that's probably, for no line watercoloring, that's a must for me. Do I plan my cards in advance or just experiment? I did plan this last card that was in the hop because I'd never done a fancy fold card, and so that was a planned card. And no, I have an idea in my head, but again, fly by the seat of my pants. I just start with an idea. If it's not working and I need to twist it and change it, then I just go with the flow. And that's the kind of crafter I am. Why did I start my YouTube channel? I think I kind of answered that. What is my least favorite technique? Masking. Single layers. Scene building. I said I'm a lazy crafter. It takes pre-planning. The other thing, I failed. I've said this my whole entire life. I must have failed cutting in preschool because I am a horrible fussy cutter. I cannot cut a straight line to save my life, and so I don't enjoy it. And that's my least favorite. I'm gonna do it, and I will do some cards with it eventually, probably not in the near future, but they'll come, but not my favorite. Where does my inspiration come from? Usually the stamps. It's usually the stamps. We have some fantastic design teams out there. That's one of the things, you know, to be on a design team, it is a curse and a blessing, because if you get a stamp set that just doesn't speak to you, then it's going to be hard to make a card. But how fantastic to be able to make a card and to not have copied anybody, because you're the first ones to use it. And I think that that is a fantastic opportunity. And that's one of the things that I really work hard at, is not copying. I get inspiration from people. Maybe color combinations, or I kind of like the style of that card, but I will always make it mine in more ways than one. How did I push when I first got started? Deadlines. If I had a deadline, the Team Tiny thing was huge, and so it really helped me. I had deadlines to meet for that, and so I pushed through learning how to make videos, and I would always get that one done first, and then I would work on other things on the side. And so having someone come up with a theme or a plan for a card is super easy to help with creativity and looking through your stamps. Another thing, not being on a design team right now, I'm not forced to use one particular stamp company's products in my entire card. So I can use a frame from Pink Fresh Studio. I can use a stamp from the Greetery. You know, I have a lot of options right now because I'm not on a design team. And so that really helps keep the creativity flowing. And I have a ton of stamps that I have yet to use that I really need to use. So I would say, you know, just having deadlines to meet, that really pushed me. Who were my art influencers? I loved this question. And that question would be my friend Carol. My friend Carol, who lives in Vegas, when I used to homeschool my boys, and so we had a little homeschool group where we would meet once a week. My dog wants to be petted, so I have to pet him while I'm talking. Anyway, we would meet once a week, and we would do, like we met at my house, and we would do watercoloring class, or she would hold a class, and she did a card making. She's always been a scrapbooker and a card maker. She was a card maker long before me. And I always thought that her cards were so beautiful. In fact, I still have cards that she created from years ago. I kept them because they were so beautiful. And I loved the handmade element. And so I would say that my friend Carol was my biggest influencer when it came to card making. She is such a talent and such a joy. She has family obligations right now that prevent her from doing what she loves on a regular basis, but hands down my favorite. And then the other question, the last question that I had was, what was my favorite project, or do I have a favorite project? And there was a photo album that I did, and unfortunately I don't have the photo album with me. It was a graphic 45 Christmas photo album that I did, and I did it as we used to have like a gift exchange throughout the whole building, so between the courts and probation and everybody. And then you would, what's it called, where you draw the numbers? I can't think of the name of it. And you know, you have number 1 and number 15, and you know, you steal from everybody. So we had that, and I made one of those. And then from that, everyone was like, oh my gosh, I want one of those. And I did baby albums and stuff like that. So that's probably one of my favorite. My other is, I never did a tutorial on this, but this is, I'll put it up close. This is a card that I made using products from the Greetery, and I just think it's a really beautiful card. I need to send it to my friend. She asked me to make a wedding card, and I have yet to send this because I haven't been to the post office. But if you want to see a tutorial on that, leave a comment in the box below. I'd be more than happy to do that. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about me, and I'd love to do this again. Leave a comment in the box below if you're interested in seeing my craft area. And until then, have a happy Easter. This will go up tomorrow. This is Saturday. This will go up on Easter. But have a happy Easter. Be blessed. Enjoy time with your family if you get to spend time with your family. And remember the reason. Bye, guys.